From like millionaire vacation homes, the whole nine to homeless.
One morning I came down and it's early hours of the morning and I had work in about 3 hours, but I wanted to drink. Now, again, going back to the hypothalamus, when I want to drink, I want to drink. Somebody said once, if I had a drink and put it behind my back, what would you do? And I said, literally, I'd stab you in the face repeatedly until you give me the vodka. And he was like, I guess. I asked another alcoholic the same thing. He go, oh yeah, so would I. It's like, that's why you need to understand where we're coming from. But I came down and I knew I had vodka somewhere. I found it, I put it on the counter in the kitchen for a second. I turned around to get a crystal glass. Because, hey, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not drinking out the bottle. These are the things, the tricks your mind plays with you. So I turned around to get the glass. And when I turned around, my wife was there and she snatched the bottle up the side of the counter. And she said, Rob, I think you've had enough. Now, what I should have said was, thank you, Mrs. Kelly. You're right. I have work in a couple of hours and go back to bed. What this alcoholic did was took a kitchen knife out and stabbed her 3 times. That's not natural, but it was for me. That's alcoholism, not heavy drinking or that's pure alcoholism. That was the only way my brain was telling me I could survive, to get that at all costs. So after she went down, she was bleeding, obviously. I called a taxi around the corner, and when a taxi come up, I called the police and the ambulance. And when I heard the sirens in the background, I jumped in the taxi and flew to the airport and fled to Spain. And I was there for 3 months because there wasn't an attempted murder charge out for me. So I couldn't come back. And then eventually, after 3 or 4 months, it was all sorted. Charges were dropped because my wife didn't want to press charges in the end. Over the UK, that's what it's like. If the person wants to, if you don't die, that is, don't want to press charges, nothing the police can do. And I came back. But when I got home, it was all waiting for me. And my wife had her bags packed at the front door. And my 2 little babies, ages 1 and 3-ish, again, can't really recall. And she says, I remember the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, she said, I love you till the day I die. And you're not going to kill my kids. Then she left. Well, the next day I got my children back by court order. I got my attorney to go around there. She didn't have attorneys. And they got my kids back the next day, and he brought them round. I gave him a big check. I brought them in, and the sense of, you can't mess with me. You have no idea how much power I have. I sat in front of the TV. I'm 3 or 4 days sober by now. I sat in front of the TV and went into the kitchen, and the thought out the blue came, wouldn't it be great if I just had one beer to celebrate my kids coming back? 2 or 3 days later, when the police kicked the door down, there was vodka bottles strewn all over the floor. My 2 little babies had not been fed for a couple of days or changed diapers. The police got them and kicked me away, considered me with unfit father papers. Child service were there, child protection service were there, police were there. She was there, mother-in-law was there. And they took my kids and they walked to the front door and they gave my youngest one to my mother-in-law and my eldest one, Charlie, to mum. And the feeling was like no other human feeling I've ever felt in my life, because my heart was being tore out in front of me. One of the police officers was crying. And my daughter said three things to me. And this was 30 years ago, maybe. She said, Daddy, Daddy, please don't go. She's walking down the path holding Mommy's hand. And then she got halfway down the path and she turned around and she said, Daddy, Daddy, please get better. And as they got to the gate and opened the gate, she turned around one more time. And she said, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. And I couldn't do it. I went back into the kitchen. I opened another bottle of vodka. And 4 weeks later, 3 weeks, I don't know, I've lost the house. I've lost the holiday homes, the cars, my medical business. I've lost my children, my wife. My parents won't speak to me. My brother and sister disowned me. And I was living on the streets. It only happened quick for me. Because remember the first night, pouring down with rain, freezing cold. I had a little coat on, holding a can of beer. And I just thought to myself, where the hell did that go? And that was me, abandoned on the streets.
Wow. From like millionaire vacation homes, the whole nine to homeless.
I did a lot of stuff on the streets I wasn't proud of to survive. You know, I beat people up coming out of nightclubs when they were drunk and steal a wallet. If I couldn't do that, I stole alcohol and threatened the security guards that I would kill them with this bottle if I didn't. And I stayed on there, and 7 suicide attempts, and on 2 occasions I died. I was dead on 2 occasions on the streets of Manchester, and they brought me back to life again.